Hi and welcome to Year 13 Parents Forum. Obviously, this is not the way we would like to do this. We'd like to obviously invite you into school, but due to the current restrictions, we're unable to do that. Hopefully, by the end of myself and Mr. Christo's videos, you'll get an insight into how best to support your young person in their final sort of phase of education in Year 13, which is a really vital year because not only are they taking their vocational or A-level qualifications, but also they're making that transition into the big bad world, be that UCAS or into apprenticeships. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the sixth form in general, about some of our rules in light of COVID, but also about the next steps in particular. So, to start with, I wanted to talk a little bit about our vision. Our vision is to inspire and support every individual sixth form student towards raising and achieving their personal and academic aspirations. This still holds true, and we still hold academic rigour at the centre of everything that we do, and we really try to drive students. I know my colleagues and teaching staff have worked really hard over the summer months to redesign schemes of learning, to redesign lessons and resources, and redesign sort of vehicles for that, to ensure that students get access to everything that they might have missed and more, to ensure they are 100% ready for their examinations. And that's something the work that is ongoing throughout the wider school faculty. More than that, we really want to support students with their personal aspirations this more than ever. Obviously, they've had to overcome a significant break in their education due to the pandemic, and obviously this might affect each of our students in different ways. We want to try and support them both emotionally and with their health to try and ensure that they've got the resilience to carry on. They have shown this already. You know, the work ethic in their study periods has been fantastic. We're hearing great reports from their teachers, so it's really clear that they are applying themselves excellently in their lessons, but we just want to ensure that they're supported with this and they know the support networks we have in school to drive that forward should they need it. Part of our tough love approach really comes down to this year more than anything is attendance. Obviously this year they missed a period of time, so they've really got to ensure that they are in lessons all the time, ready to learn, and are making effective use of every single teacher contact time and every single independent study period and every single period 11. Attendance to school is more vital now than it's ever been. 95% is considered unsatisfactory by us. To put this in context for you, a 90% attendance is half a day missed every week. It's 4 whole weeks of lessons missed by the end of year 13. It's 60 hours worth of contact time with a professional that they have missed. Maximising their attendance in year 13 is crucial. It's crucial for achievement, it's crucial for references, but more than ever, it's crucial for them to fill those knowledge gaps that they may have picked up, those misconceptions they may have picked up, and it's really, really important they do that. I would urge you as parents to help and support us with this, to encourage them into school, to encourage them to be punctual, to get here on time, get to lessons in a position where they're ready and eager to learn. The next thing I want to talk to you about is our new school rules. Obviously, lots have changed, and I know Mr. Whittle has sent this information out to you, and we've written out to you in regards to this, but I just want to pick up on some key things with you. Start time for school is different at 8:45. Students now start with a 15-minute registration. This is really important that students go to this and that they're there to get the important information that we hand out, to talk about daily notices, but also to speak to their tutor, who will be their first point of call for anything, especially their next steps. So it's really important that they have that dialogue on a daily basis. In addition to that, we've brought in face coverings in sort of communal areas, especially in the lower and upper street and B and C blocks. Now these are, whilst these may be where sixth formers might be based in terms of their tutor rooms, in terms of the hall as a study space, they still need to be wearing the masks when they're not in a lesson or not in the hall. This is simply to protect ourselves and them and ensure the continuity of their education going forward. We would ask students in year 13 to really be role models for the lower school and for their younger sort of peers in the sixth form, to really put those face coverings on and to ensure that they're wearing them all times where they should be, and really just show that they are united in supporting the school in ensuring that we can continue to deliver the education that we can. In terms of Year 13 zones, they have access to the sixth form cafe where they can still get food and drink, and they have access to the silent study as a computer suite, and the hall. The hall is more a group study area where they can work in groups and work in little teams on projects, and it's been really good to see that they've been doing that. That session in the hall is manned by myself, Mr. Christo or Mr. Tucker or Mr. Stevens, so there was always a member of staff on hand to support students if they need to with whatever they might be feeling they need to ask. In terms now of next steps, I want to talk briefly about UCAS and then talk about apprenticeships. UCAS grades are currently being set. We have a deadline internally within school of the 29th of September. What I've asked heads of departments to do is set these in relation to a flight path of the students from March 2020, essentially assuming that knowledge gaps and misconceptions created during the lockdown period are filled, and we take a flight path of where that student was in March and extrapolate that out to where they might be at the end of year 13 to give us that grade. We also want to assume that those grades, those exams are going to be set on a good day, that the questions are nice for the students, that they're happy with them, that they're entering that in a positive mindset, that they're prepared for it. This we feel will give realistic yet aspirational UCAS grades. We feel that they need to be realistic to ensure students do get places at university, but they also need to be aspirational. They need to be able to push students on to where they want to be and to give them something extra to work for. So hopefully by implanting these across the school, we will have that measure in place to drive students on. My advice to students really now is to get set up on UCAS, get their application open, use the buzzword HAZE21 to link it to us, and then we can start that process fully with them. We've already started that in active, but if they've not done that yet, we would encourage them to do that. I would also encourage them to attend virtual open days. These are really, really important to get to look at universities, speak to lecturers, speak to current students, and just get a flavour and a feel. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to visit, I wouldn't have thought, these universities before Christmas, so attending as many of these as possible is really, really crucial for them. Personal statements have started to be written, and it's really, really good to see some of the sort of level of sort of understanding of subjects in there. Just to remind you about what a personal statement really is, it's a 4,000 character limit statement about selling themselves, about wanting to go to university and why. 90% of this should really be about the subject. It should be about why do you want to do that subject? What wider reading have you done? What have you learned from this? How is that going to benefit you? Do you agree with that reading that you've looked at? Do you think in a different way? And why do you think in a different way? This really is designed to show your passion for that subject, show why you want to do it, show that reader that you are able to study that subject at a higher level. In addition to that, you may want to include things like extracurricular and leadership roles, but you really need to talk about how that's going to impact you at university. If you've been a member of a sports team, has it taught you team working? And is that something that's going to be really important to your degree? Is it that you've had a leadership role and it's taught you about communication, and is that going to be a part of your degree? And really talk about how that's going to impact you. As I said, about 90% of this should come from your subject. If you've got additional information you'd like to be included and you'd like the university to know but you can't meet that 4,000 character limit, our advice would be speak to your tutors who are writing references and ask them to include that information within that reference for you. What that should mean is the university gets that information, but the vehicle for that is just slightly different. There's some key deadlines to remember. The 15th of October 2020 is the Oxbridge and Medicine deadline. That includes dentistry. Mr. Stevens is supporting that group of students with those, and they should already be well on the way to that and well on the way to sort of looking at the entrance exams for those as well. 15th of January 2020 is for all other courses. Now this seems like a long time away, but there's a big but with this, and the big but really is getting that done now, getting that done early, getting that off your plate is one less thing to worry about. In light of everything that we've been through in the last few months, it's really important to relieve that pressure as much as possible. So I'd really urge students to do this as soon as possible. In addition to this, universities obviously have a set number of provisional places that they can offer. Once those provisional places are offered, they won't offer above that. Getting your application in early helps to ensure you get the offers you want. Some universities leave this to the last minute to make offers to everybody. Some universities, when they have a good candidate in front of them, will make that offer. Students need to ensure that that offer is going to them and not somebody from a different school in a different area. Next, I want to talk about apprenticeships. Apprenticeships have a different timeline. Lots of apprenticeships come out throughout the year. They don't necessarily open and close in one set place. It is very much like applying for a job in that respect. But students can do lots of things now to support themselves in being ready for that. One of the things we would advise them to do is research. We use Unifrog and Be Ready and the apprenticeship website to do this. There's a plethora of different opportunities on there, and that should hopefully help students to look at what's out there, look at different firms, look at different types of apprenticeships, the levels of those apprenticeships, and really get a flavour for what they might be applying for when applications open. It's also really important to CV build, virtual work experience, volunteering, webinars, guest speakers. Listening to those different things are really important to build your CV and to then add to your personal statements, of which these students will possibly still need. It might be different from a UCAS application because it's more driven about a job. But again, the subject they want to go into, accounting, finance, or is it marketing, or is it in the leisure field, whatever they want to do, they need to be able to talk about this, why it interests you, why that organisation in particular. Again, they need to talk about that extracurricular and their leadership roles. How does that impact them in that daily sort of life in that job? Miss Stewart is really our sort of stalwart for information and guidance in this. She's our careers leaders within the school, and you can contact her at cds@hayes.bromley.sch.uk. She sends out opportunities to students every single day, lots of exciting opportunities, and I would urge them, part of their CV building, to read those and get involved with them. If students literally have no idea what they want to do, I would anticipate and ask them to look at a careers appointment with Miss Stewart to get that booked in, and she'll be able to support and guidance and show them what's out there and what they could potentially do with the qualifications they're doing. Finally, I want to talk to you about an assembly that I did to students on when they first returned. And it was on a TV programme I got really hooked on called The World's Toughest Race. And this race is an 11-day endurance race that took place in Fiji. The winning teams actually do it in about 4 or 5 days. They don't really sleep, a couple of hours at a time, and I got really hooked on it. But really what it gave me was an analogy for year 13. You see, they have had to come over obstacles, and they've done that really well so far. No doubt there will be obstacles in their way before the end of their race at the end of year 13 when they sit those examinations. But really what struck me in The World's Toughest Race, and what I said to students, was it's teamwork. It's teamwork that got these people through that race, and it's teamwork that's going to get year 13 through their race by the end of this academic year. The teams we're talking about is ourselves as professionals and our sixth form team and their wider teachers, you at home, and also their peers. By all of us working together with those students, I'm confident that they can win the race. I'm confident that they can fill those knowledge gaps, they can get rid of those misconceptions, and they can get themselves prepared and ready to do well in those examinations that are upcoming. I want to thank you for your sort of support and guidance during for your support, should I say, through the last few months, and your ongoing support in the coming months. If you have any questions, I'd please ask you to email myself and Mr. Christo, and be more than happy to help. Thank you.